Hi my friend, in this video we're going to be arranging a melodic tech house song inspired by HELLMATE and Santiago and Carlitos' version of Show Me Love. We're going to find out if we can structure and arrange this song in under 15 minutes using the 80-20 rule of house music arrangement. What you're listening to right now is the track that we'll be working on, and what you're looking at right now is the Ableton project file that we'll be working on. In particular, we're going to be focusing on the macro transitions, really focusing on this arrangement track that's been built out here, as well as the micro transitions, which are all the smaller changes that make the song dynamic and interesting over time. All in all, by following this 80-20 rule, I was able to arrange this loop into a full song within about 15 to 20 minutes. And this entire song, from creating it, arranging it, mixing and mastering, all that good stuff, took me about 6 hours to complete. So if you need help finishing songs fast, just like this, I've made you a free bundle of templates, samples, and some special bonuses that I use to completely finish one new song every single week. Visit the link that's in the description or on screen now to grab the ultimate song finishing toolkit for free. And with that said, let's get into this. All right. So before we dive into kind of a walkthrough of this entire arrangement, there are a couple concepts that I'm going to want to clear up for you that are going to really help you in your arrangements. First thing is what I'd recommend doing whenever you're building out your tracks is to first build them out vertically and then build them out horizontally. So what do I mean by that? So if you followed any of the previous videos, I was kind of going through how I build out the tracks. Usually it's drums, bass, vocals, synths, all that kind of stuff. And usually I'll build it out vertically. So starting with the kick and the snare and the da-da-da-da-da and then the bass, and build up that kind of loop, that 8 to 16 bar loop. Once you have that loop created with as many of the layers as possible, it then makes it very easy to create the arrangement. And so what I have here are a couple concepts that I would definitely want to show you. First is this arrangement track. So up at the top, you can see I've used empty MIDI clips and just colored them to indicate the changes throughout the song. So intro, when the sub comes in, the break, the drop, the larger break, the second drop, those kinds of ideas. And this is a concept that I like to call macro transitions. So it's the larger changes that are happening throughout the song. You can almost look at this as like things like verses, choruses, that kind of thing. And then also what you can do is you can see here what I originally did was this is the arrangement for this actual Show Me Love track. So I have this reference track in here. I've been using this to build up the track in previous videos, and then also I was able to map out this arrangement so that I can use that to decide to make a very easy way to develop the arrangement. So I can just easily copy and paste my loop throughout this and make it sound similar. However, what I'd also recommend is as you're building it out, you'll notice that the final arrangement is quite a bit different. So you can find your tracks and develop them and create that arrangement track, but definitely I'd recommend as you're building out your own unique track, just start making some decisions, be bold. You can use that as a starting point, but then always try to get your own uniqueness in there. Very similar to how we've been building up the track at this point. Start with a reference and slowly start expanding outwards. In addition to that, before we go through this walkthrough, another concept that I really want to drive home here is the idea of micro transitions. So if macro transitions are these larger changes in the song that happen maybe every 16, 32, or 64 bars, micro transitions are little things that happen every 8 to 16 bars. So this might be like the first 8 bars, there's no open hi-hat, and you can see in the second half here, the open hi-hat comes in. So adding in layers, taking out layers, maybe little drum fills, as well as things like this. So I usually will have like an effects track where you can see here sometimes even 4 bars, 8 bars, 16 bars, there's maybe like a reverse crash or a crash cymbal or like a laser sound or a downlifter. Those little things are great little micro transitions that can add a lot of dynamics or whatever interest, movement to your tracks. And then also another little trick that I do quite a bit is removing the kick as well. So with that said, let's dive into this. I'm going to remove the loop marker and we're going to dive into it. So the first 16 bars are the intro, the drum intro. This is mostly just kicks, that kind of stuff. What we have here is, I believe we have the kick being just coming in, and then we have the open hi-hat coming in the second half of this. Almost no melodic instruments in here, but we have this vocal slowly starting to come in, and we have these little risers going into the first macro transition, which is when the sub kicks in. You can hear here that at this point, the sub's kicked in, The drums are mostly all in at this point, and we also have this M1 organ here playing the similar sound at the lower end. And then on the second half, as like a micro transition, it's going up an octave, adding some energy and some interest to the track. They have all these weird little stabs. The stabs, as you can see, later come in a lot more, so right now it's just teasing them in the first bit. We're going into the next bit, which is a break. So we've removed the kick at this point. Right before is a micro transition. We remove the kick just slightly before. We have the open hi-hat playing. In the second half of it, a micro transition. We're going to drop the energy even further by removing that open hi-hat right here. We're dropping the energy even more, and you can hear down here slowly building up this filtered vocal here. So listen to the pitch down. We have these riser sounds, reverse crash coming into a crash into the drop. And so at this point, the main change here between this and the sub is that these cool little stabby sounds are like really coming into play quite a bit here. And I've set it up so that I automated this echo onto this that vocal bit. And then after the first 8 bars, we have this vocal being teased in, so you can see there's more vocals to come, but I've used volume automation to only tease a little bit of it. So now we're in the first half of the drop, little micro transition dropping the kick. And if you heard that like da da da, that's another little micro transition. So like sometimes at the start or the end of a bar, you can have extra kicks being played to add some interest. So again, main things that's changing throughout here, also added in the ride cymbal to add some interest in here, dropping it out. And then over here, again, mostly playing with the vocals to make some changes. And another thing is volume automation as well. So there's that kind of toxic Britney Spears thing is slowly being built in here if we solo that out. That bit. So now we're going into the first, like the really big break over the course of 64 bars. So we've removed the subs here, removed all of the kicks, removed quite a bit of the drums. After the first 8 bars, we're gonna add some in those hi-hats. We're also adding in some of the subs here, slowly building up the energy, and you can hear that vocal here has been echoed out. So let me just hold that for you. Just using echo, like a standard Ableton Echo to automate that in, increasing the feedback. So now what we're doing is we're adding in some of the vocals here. What we're doing is we have this huge riser pad sound kind of thing, and then it's a micro transition here. Remove all of the drums to drop the energy quite a bit right before. And then we're gonna have like a nice little drop out right before, and you can hear I have a pad that's coming in quite a bit at this point as well. And then there's that cool little like kick fill that happens right before, right here. So look at the pattern, whatever. So then at the end here, what we have is the final drop. So we went from that big break into the final drop. And at this point, what we have going on here is a lot of everything except for the vocals is in here, letting like those stabs come through quite a bit, and having the vocals being teased in. And then in the second half of the drop, we finally have that release of the vocals like fully playing by themselves. Again, little micro transitions have been happening throughout. I'm trying to show as much as possible. You can hear there's like lasers and like little crash sounds and all that kind of stuff happening consistently. One big thing is in the second half here we have this ride cymbal, which is a great way to add energy throughout the track. So the first half, no ride, second half there is ride. And now we're going into the build down of the track, which is where it starts to slowly bring the track's energy down into the outro so that the DJ can mix out of it. At this point, just using some automation on those echoing out the vocals a little bit like that. What we're doing is slowly removing some of the energy here, so the ride just stopped there. We're just playing with some of these sounds, a little micro transition. We're gonna drop the kick right before, listen right now. Nice little micro transition. And then we're going into the outro, which is just perfect for basically mixing out the track for DJs. So we mostly have drums here. I chose to have a little bit of the little stab playing, and you can hear it's in the first half as a micro transition. What we're gonna do then is remove it for the second half. So now for the last like 8 bars, it's just the kick, which I think has been also high passed a little bit, so I've been automating that in and out so that it has that reduced energy kind of sound, and we just have like kind of drum breaks playing, a little bit of shaker at the end for almost like a fill. Boom. And that's a look at the arrangement. Let me know if I can get better at explaining this. There's quite a bit going on, so maybe I could do something like make these project files available so that you can watch this, hear what I have to say, but then also dive into the particular areas that are interesting to you. But with that said, that's a good look at the arrangement right there. Hello again, my friend. Hopefully you found that video useful. If you'd like to follow along yourself with the 5-step song finishing checklist, there will be a link in the description below where you can get access to that completely for free, and it's going to help you finish your songs a lot faster and better than ever before. If you found this video useful, like and subscribe and all that good stuff, but really the best thing I can do for you is hook you up with that free checklist, so make sure you check that one. Other than that, I'll see you in the next video, my friend. Have a good one.